In this section, we're going to talk about dispersion. The previous section we talked about central tendency. You want to see why central tendency does not fully explain the features of a sample or population. I have three different ones here. I'm going to call them A, B, and C. Notice if I find the mean of each one, in other words, if I total these together, divide by 5, get 75. Same with these. Add these together and divide by 5, get 75. Take the median. It's the middle one, middle value in all of them, 75. Take the mode. None is more frequent than the other in any of these, so there's no mode. And the mid-range, the average of the high and the low, 150, 55 and 65, 150, 75 and 75, 150 divided by 2. Those are all 75. But clearly when I look at these, they're different. If I were usually a poor student, I'd prefer to be in this class because it looks like everybody's getting a C. Well, if I was a good student, I'd want to be in that class. So it looks like there is a difference here. And that difference has to do with, instead of being near the middle, the central tendency, the dispersion, how spread out. So we're going to look at three different measures of dispersion. The first one is the range. The range is probably the easiest thing we do in this class. It's simply the high value minus the low value. So in the case of population A, 100 minus 50 is 50. In the case of population B, 85 minus 65 is 20. And in the case of population C, 75 minus 75 is 0. We can see that A is more spread out, more dispersed than C because it has a larger range. Next thing that we're going to look at is the variance and the standard deviation. Variance means to change, vary, and deviation means away from. To deviate from something is to be away from it. We're going to deviate from the mean. So the standard deviation from the mean is the full idea. So we're going to take each value and we're going to subtract the mean. That's going to give us our deviation from the mean. Then we're going to square the deviation of the mean, because sometimes we'll get a negative number when we do the value minus its mean. For example, here 65 minus the mean for all these is 75. 65 minus 75 is negative. We're going to take the mean of these squared deviations from the mean, and we're going to take the mean of these. And that's going to equal our variance. We're going to take the square root of the variance, and that's going to equal our standard deviation. Okay, let's look at an example. Remember, I've already found the mean of these. That's the first step, to find the mean. So let's look at A. By the way, C is going to turn out to be 0. So I've already found the mean to be 75. So I'm going to take each of these values and I'm going to subtract the mean from it. So the mean is 75. So I'm going to subtract 75 from each of these values. And then, because some of them are negative, I'm going to square them. So 100 minus 75 is 25 squared. 10 squared. 0 squared. Negative 10, so it has to be in parentheses. Negative 25, so it has to be in parentheses. So that'll be 625, 100, 0, 100. Whoops, 25, negative 25 times negative 25 is 625. And look, I've already added them there. I get 1450. And so the variance is going to be 1450 divided by 5, which is 290. The problem is the variance is in square units. So the variance is 290 square points. It doesn't make any sense. So that's why we take the square root to get back to standard deviation. So the square root of 290 is 17 approximately, and you get around wherever you want to round or wherever you're asked to round to. So the standard deviation is 17. Some sense typical deviation from the mean is 17. Okay, let's look at the second example, B. Again, the mean is 75. So we're going to take each value. Again, in this example, we still have 5 values, but you can have any number of values. And we'd already found the mean, so if you didn't know the mean, that would be the first step, to find the mean. And now I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 75, 80 minus 75, 75 minus 75, 70 minus 75, and 65 minus 75. Square these. 10 squared is 100. 5 squared is 25, so it's negative 5 squared. And let's add these all up, and I get 250. So the variance is 250 divided by 5, which is 50. So the standard deviation is square root of 50 so the square root of 50, 7.07. So again, it would depend on where I was rounding. Maybe I was rounding to the tenths place, and that would be 7.1 units. That's the 3 measures of dispersion.